What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So, welcome to Friday episode. So, if you're tuning in, let's make sure we're all on the same page, people. If you're tuning into this episode, this is the least cybersecurity you're going to get all week. So, you want those cybersecurity nuggets? You want us to dig into the news? And talk about those type of things, I'm gonna need you to listen to Monday and Tuesday are our topics, where we discuss an article we found interesting on the internet or some topic that came up throughout the week. And then Wednesday we do a deeper dive and we do a discussion. So this week was like on IoT devices and a threat that was a vulnerability that was found back in November and how it could potentially impact you, because it impacts billions of Internet of Things devices out there. So definitely tune in for that. But Friday, we try to stay away from too much work, and we try to talk about everything else. So movies, books, games, things of that nature. So that's what this episode is. And it gets the most listens every single week for 3 years straight. But I think people start here and then they go to the other episodes. So I'm just like, I don't get why that happens, because this is the least advertised episode. I advertised the other ones on LinkedIn and Facebook and all this stuff, and this one is so long I can't put it on other platforms. But this is the go-to. I don't get it, but I appreciate it. Continue to do that, but then go back and listen to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So with all that being said, how was your week, Shannon?
Man, it was good. I can't complain. It was an okay week, man. So my birthday was actually this past week. So the family got together and we actually had it to where we could all get together, with my older children, with them working and school and stuff like that. We actually made it work to where we could all go out to dinner. So that was good. It was a fun time.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
How's it feel turning 25? Like how do you
25, I can finally rent a car now, you know what I mean? So yeah, but yeah, no, I'm way up from that. I'm up from that a little bit, but yeah, no, it was a good time. Spending time with the family. Like I said, we went out to dinner. And it was just being around each other was good, you know what I mean, all at once, so I enjoyed it. But yeah, so did that. Actually went out with my children, my younger children, took them to, actually it was my younger three. My daughter was at work, but we all went to see Puss in Boots: Last Wish, right? So I haven't kept up with like Puss in Boots. Like I know it was in Shrek, got introduced in like the second Shrek.
Right. Yeah, I haven't seen any of his separate movies.
Yeah, me either, but it was cute, man. It was kind of funny too, right? So they get some stuff in there for adults. Even like there was a couple parts where they bleep words out, like it'd be cuss words or something like that, and they bleep it out, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, like they don't say it right because it's a kids movie, but yeah, it was cute. I liked it. And my children seemed to like it. My daughter, I didn't think was really feeling it because she was like up and like walking around a little bit, and I was like, okay, she's the youngest,
right? She's like, hey, I can stretch my legs.
Yeah, but she was like, I liked it. She was like, I was watching it while I was walking. I was like, you didn't seem like you were liking it, baby. You was up and walking around. I was watching it while I was walking. I'm like, all right, okay, whatever you say, baby. But yeah, so did that. I started watching on Netflix the murder documentary or whatever. The lawyer.
Oh yeah, you told me about that. Yep.
Yeah. So I watched the first episode. Yeah, that dude is the family seems to be a real piece of work. The first episode is really just concentrating on the son. But just they go into other things, like his great grandfather, his grandfather. They haven't really touched on the dad too much. I think they're going to do a whole separate episode on him, right? But all that, this whole series came out before the conviction that just happened 4 days ago, or whatever, from when we're recording right now. But yeah, so started watching that. So I got a couple more of those to get through to see. But other than that, not much else, man. Like when I come home now, I don't get as much time to like sit down and watch stuff. Like we'll end up going somewhere or doing something, to where I'm not as at home as much. I picked up Madden. I started playing Madden a little bit more again, and then I was like, yeah, this is why I stopped playing it. And then I, put it back down. It's like, Yeah, all right. But yeah, so it's been an uneventful week for me. Like I said, the birthday dinner was good. That's probably the highlight of my week, was having everybody together, and then watching the Murdoch thing. I still haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm contemplating whether or not I want to go out today to see it, but I don't know. But yeah, contemplating going out to see that, but I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me, man. What about you?
Quiet week. So I started my first post-military job. Super excited. Man, been sleeping after learning new stuff, right? Is mentally tiring in a good way. Like I feel like I'm learning a lot. I'm getting the an understanding of how things work out here in the quote unquote real world. But I've been going to bed at like 9:30. Like, so I haven't really been able to really get in on like I finished work, I interact with the family, and like, all right, I'm going to bed. Shower, go to bed, done. Um, so I didn't get a lot of stuff in, but the stuff I did get in was progress, right? So like we've been talking about Hades for years. I've been playing this game called Hades. It's a roguelike. The point of these games is to die and then get better and what have you. And I finally beat it. I finally did so because I finally stopped being stubborn, and I watched a couple videos on how the systems and mechanics of this game work and how I've been doing it wrong this entire time. And I jumped on, and that week I focused on the things I needed to do in the game, and I finally beat it. And what's cool about it is you can beat the game once you get good at it. You can beat it in 30 minutes or less, right? Like I've seen like 15 minutes like runs through this game. You can do that. That's a thing once you get more experience, because you, even though you start over, you get things that are permanent to your like permanent health, permanent strength, things of that nature. So but what's really cool about it though is that the hook is at the end, right? You finally get to the end objective, you get what you're looking for, but you only get a piece of the information, and then you get rebooted again. If you want to get more information, you have to go back through the game, right? But new characters open up, new storylines open up, new powers open up. So it's like, okay, like it's not boring going back through the game. Like you're discovering new things each time, even though you beat it. Now you get another piece of information. So I really enjoy it. I probably keep playing it. Now I'm getting good at it. But I haven't played any bigger games, right? So I didn't play any God Wars. I did play Madden with my son, and oh, I'm terrible at Madden. But we put on all Madden, and it was pick city. I'm talking about like they kept me in the game. Anytime he started to pull ahead of me, a pick. Now, and I'm not even doing it. Like the CPU on ridiculous interceptions. You're like, how is that even, like the computer like twisted his body in a way a human being cannot to get that interception. So
That's the stuff that
with
pisses me off. Like they won't even. So like that's why I was like, okay, yeah. When I said earlier, like
Mhm.
I remember why I stopped playing it. It'll be stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
Like
you're like, that's not human. Like
yeah,
that's
you're not even looking. Like if the guy's not
right.
looking, he shouldn't be the first one to break on the
He's
ball and
just
go,
like
you
boop.
know what I mean? Like come
Shoot,
on.
was it shoestring catch or whatever? Like looking the wrong direction.
Yeah, you're not. You're yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
So
So,
we
so you play with your son. Like, did you play
mhm.
against him or did you
Yeah,
play
against him.
on the same?
Yeah. And I had to ask him how mechanics worked, because I haven't owned a Madden myself and played it since '07. That was the last Madden I bought. So everything was different. I was like, I was throwing the ball and I was lobbing it, and like he was like, no, there's a gauge within it, right? Like you have to time your throws. You can turn it off though. And I was like, no, I'm playing it the way it was meant to be played. Just being stubborn. Um, yeah, not feeling it. And it doesn't look good. Madden looks like Madden has not made a leap since the PS3. That's the last time Madden made a graphical leap. Like
Okay. So
it does not look
what
great.
Madden are you playing? Are you playing 23? You playing the newest one?
Yeah, I played 23 because it has Madden on the cover, right? So Madden in black and
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing 23 on the Xbox Series X. I'm thoroughly unimpressed.
So here's the thing. So there is a setting in there where you can either do it for performance or image quality, and there's not much difference
Mhm.
between them. But I think it looks pretty good, man. I don't know. Maybe it's me.
My bar is too high. I like, I want them to look, I want to look him in the face and be like, yeah, that's Tom Brady. There's not that many characters on screen. Like everybody else who's in the stadium is not fully rendered, right? Like so you have infinite polygons to get these characters. I need them to look better. I need the grass to blow and sway in the wind. I need
Oh man, okay.
ray traced rays coming from the sun that
I don't
gleam
think
on helmets in a
you,
realistic way.
you got to go to the next gen to get that. So like you got to think about this, right? So like they have at any one time, right? It's 22 things that are moving that have to be realistic, right? And interact on the field, right? Because 11
right
in the stands. I mean, it's one of those things where I just don't think they put the time into it because it's just like, it's whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, all that stuff, like that stuff is not being detailed. So I need everybody on the field to be. I need the refs to have freckles. I mean, I'm talking about like I need to see the muscles moving underneath the skin. Because you're only rendering how many people? How many people are on the field?
22. That's the 22. But okay, so here's
and the AI is dumb, so you're not putting the power there.
If you were to, I hear you.
You'd be like, why'd he run that route? That's not what we.
That's not what the play is supposed to be, right?
Right.
It happens more often than it should. I think it's a matter of they don't have the time like some of these other studios, right? So like for
because it's cranked out every year.
4 years. Yeah. It's an annual thing, right? So they're like, okay, we just need to do something incremental to make people buy it, whatever, because it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's true though. They get like 7 months to turn it over.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't
that's why I swear on everything they would still make the same amount of money because people would still buy it because there's no other show in town. You literally just update the roster every other year. Just give me a roster update, and people will pay the same amount of money. They'll pay $70 for roster update, and then you get 2 years to work on this thing to make it look better and function better, as opposed to the 7 months or whatever.
I honestly think it got worse as the year went on. So like when they first came out with it, because I was contemplating whether or not I was going to get it this year, and when it first came out, it was pretty good. Like some of the stuff they said they fixed, they had really fixed. So like the phantom interceptions and people super jumping for interceptions and all that stuff was gone. But I noticed every progressive update after that, like it seemed like it was going right back to where it was before. And I was just like, you got rid of this stuff.
They're pulling stuff out in the patches. They're like,
yeah. Yeah, I'm like, you're supposed to be adding to, like, you're telling me this patch is this big. It seems like you just removed something you did from before, right?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Right. It's just it got worse as time went on, and I was just like, okay, now I'm seeing all the old stuff that I used to see. Right? It's even glitchy.
Maybe you're just getting that good. Like you're getting better. So the game's the same, but you're getting better. Like you've entered the matrix.
Doubtful. I don't play it as often as I used to. Like I don't play as much as I used to play it. Right? Like I used to be on Madden like all the time. I was never like a ranked Madden player or anything like that, but I could hold my own, you know what I mean? But I just don't play it that often, man. So, at 25, my thumbs ain't what they used
to. Right.
But
right. The reflexes out the window.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But no, I didn't enjoy it. But it's the same thing with 2K for me. Like 2K does look amazing though. Like that's what I'm thinking I'm looking for. I'm looking for like the 2K but in football form. But the micro transactions are killing me. Like, so I remember a time I tried to tell my kids these old timey stories, right? When things were in black and white, when you bought the game and it just had all this stuff in it. And I get that model doesn't always work, right? Because games are getting increasingly expensive. Like people were like me, expect it to be the most amazing thing ever and to last forever, right? Like a game is not an instance anymore. I'm pivoting the opposite way. As I get older, I want a very contained experience, right? Give me max 20 hours because I'm going to not be able to keep playing it for longer than that because life happens, right? Just give me one brilliant experience. Give me a God of War that looks amazing, has a crazy story. You don't need it. I don't even need DLC. Like just give me that one containerized thing. I will love it. People are the opposite, right? They want the Destinies. They want the games to last forever with their friends and all that other stuff, like games of service. Like I'm not looking for that. Because like the new Sucker Punch is making Kill the Justice League. That looks like it's going to be a game as a service. I don't want that. Like I just want you to give me the game and I play through it. So I get it. I'm different. But I say all this to say, where was I going with this?
About games being beautiful is where you were starting.
Yes. Like, so when I play 2K and it is beautiful, but then I get frustrated by the microtransactions because, like, how did my guy get to the league playing this bad where I have to now buy their currency VC to make this person better? Like, I get DLC as in cosmetics. Like, okay, I want my person to look crazy or to do this or have this backpack or whatever is in fashion at the time. I don't get it for character building. I'm paying you to unlock things that this character should already be able to do. Like, you're not adding things to this game. I'm paying for a key that unlocks a +1, +2 to dribble. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. That frustrates me out of this world because I remember a time where I could shoot free throw or I could shoot half court from Shaq once I got good enough, right? In NBA Live. Like, he's terrible, but I could overcome his bad stats and make him do things he shouldn't be able to do. Now I get a full-fledged NBA rookie who cannot dribble. How did you get to the league? It makes no sense. Like, it's just, these are just money pits now. Like, they're not fun. So I can't play that game outside of the baked in characters. Like, we're going to play the Nets versus whomever or whatever, like with those characters who are real people, right? But they already have stats that are baked in that they do what they're supposed to do. The Steph does not miss, right? Once it gets hot, type situation. But my character will, because I need to pay you more VC to increase their shooting range. That seems criminal to me. I do not like it. It's predatory, in my opinion.
I hear you on that, but for me, I've never been one to like I haven't bought 2K in a couple of years, but
Yeah,
I
it's gorgeous.
it's always looked good,
Yeah.
right? So like the 2K, like when 2K gets back into the football game, because like
Oh yeah.
there will come a time where EA will lose it, right? Like it will be too
Yeah.
much, and the NFL will open it up. 2K is gonna, I think they're gonna run the gambit again, right? Like they're gonna be on top. But I've never subscribed to any of that. So for me, I like more of the realism to where it's like, okay, I don't need to have somebody, I don't do the build a care or create a play,
Right.
or any of that. Like that's not for me.
Mhm.
I want to play a season. I want to see what I can do, with the Nets against the Bucks or whatever it may be.
Right.
And like that's what I'm in it for. So for me, it doesn't apply. They're not making any money off me for that, right? You've made your now $70, right, for these games, right? On the
Yeah.
PS5.
Yeah.
You've made
Because Madden has that, right? They have like the ultimate teams or whatever. Like, so
they have like some
they
trading
do that
card
too
thing. Yeah.
to get the money or whatever. But I don't know. Just
I don't do it though. I don't do it.
right.
Like I will make trades in a game, you know what I mean? So like it's sports, right? So like you could trade for players or whatnot, but I'm not about to create an all-star team to where, I don't need to pay to have Dion from the Falcons, you know what I mean, on my
Right.
team all of a sudden or whatever. Like, no, I get it. He was great. I watched him, you know what I mean? I know I've seen Dion bait quarterbacks into throwing something his way and then be like, that's me, you know what I mean? And I step it the other way. Like I don't need that in the game. Dion is not playing right now. Like even now, like I was playing this past week, when I log on, and I don't really look at the cover, not the cover, but like the first screen or anything like that, because it has like the, get this card for this or whatever. But like, I don't know if you've ever seen so Dion did a commercial. It's a pretty funny commercial, where he's like, man, I can still play with these guys. And this is Dion like 50, right? And
Right.
he's Leon Sandcastle is what he is, right? Like he's
The
in a
comeback. Yeah.
commercial. Yeah. You've seen this? You've seen the
No,
commercial?
I haven't
So
seen
like,
that one.
he's going on there and like so he's got this big afro, this mustache, you know what I mean? And they're like, what's your name, sir? And he's like, my name is, and he's thinking because it's Deion Sanders. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
Leon Sand Castle. You know what I mean? So like he runs the 40, and they're like, man, the last time I've seen somebody run this fast, like it is Dion, right?
Right. Right.
Like it's because this whole thing, but like in Madden, like there's this thing that has like a Leon Sandcastle thing in it, and I'm like, it's a funny commercial, but I don't need that in the game. I don't need,
Right.
Leon playing, this other character or whatever. And they did it with somebody else. Somebody else did it too. I can't remember if it was like Bo Jackson or somebody else that's retired did the same thing. Another commercial like that, but Jerry Rice. It might have been Jerry Rice. But I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't need it. Like, give me the real deal. Like, I want to know who's playing today and what I can do with them. So yeah, I'm
Right.
with you on that. It is kind of predatory too, right? Because like when you think about it, And it's the parents' fault, right? Like if they allow this to happen, but like these kids are playing the game, and if they're unsupervised, I think it'd just be racking up charges, building
Oh
off.
yeah, there was that happened not too long ago. This lady was like thousands of dollars her
Mm.
child spent in the
Mm.
game. It's like, first off, kudos to you to have that just sitting in the account, or your kid can rack up thousands of dollars
Yeah.
in DLC before you figure it out. But I think they wound up refunding some of that money or whatever, because he was making just it. You knew it was a child making these purchases, right? It couldn't be like, you couldn't lie and say,
Yeah.
oh well, I want my money back because I didn't enjoy the experience or whatever. Like, no, he was just buying multiples of things that
Yeah.
you only need one of, type situation.
Yeah. Nah,
So,
it's something else.
but yeah, I'm not enjoying it. But I love my single players. Like Hades is a single player game. God of War is a single player game. I'm going to skip Horizon and go straight to the second one. much to your dismay. I'm sorry. I just can't. I cannot do. I was going to skip because I got to get into it. But I like those experiences. I'm just not feeling these games of service. I can't do it. I just don't have the time, energy, or I don't know, patience. Yeah, like I just want the experience. I just want to roll out. That's it. But that being said, so yeah, I played Hades. I'm gonna go back and play Spider-Man because I got to wrap that one up, and then I'm gonna jump to Horizon 2 and start playing that because that's on the PlayStation Premium, whatever they call it now.
Network something, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. The title keeps getting longer and longer. I tried out Wulong. Wulong dropped on Xbox, but it's like I say I like Hades. It's a roguelike. It's different. Like those. Like, so Wulong is more like a Neo, which is more like a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls type game, where it's just, we give you the least amount of information possible, make you figure it out, and we destroy your soul on the way through it. Like every boss encounter, not even boss encounter, every regular encounter can lead to death. Like I played for like 5 minutes. I was just like, nope, not for me. Beautiful game, look gorgeous. I didn't make it past, you know how all these samurai movies usually kick off with like you running through the village while it's on fire, defending against the invaders or whatever. I didn't make it past that. My dude was in 2 or 3 fights, and I was like, nope, I can see where this is going. I'm out. Just
So
not my type of game.
you mentioned it, so like you talked about it, not today, but you had mentioned it before, and like I noticed when I turned on the PlayStation, I looked at the trailer. It does look beautiful, man. Like when
Gorgeous.
I was like, oh,
I ain't
man,
even like, I saw some later stuff in the game, like in the trailer roll, and I was like, oh man, that's gonna be great. I ain't make it there. 5 minutes in, I was like, nope, not for me.
How's that feel, Ryan? Like you kind of know within a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I was
like
like, this is definitely a Shannon moment right
yeah,
here.
yeah.
I know what I know, and I know I want to put in an hour into this just to be like, nope, not going to do it. And it has a lot to do with not just that, not just being frustratingly hard, because some people like that. It's the reflexes. Like you got junior dudes out here because they samurai, right? Like I talk about the NBA thing. Like, how'd you make it to the league? Like these guys are invading because they're good at invading. So so when I'm coming up against even the most unskilled of their ilk, he slices me to pieces. I just don't have the reflexes to parry and dodge, and I ain't got that no more. So like I need a longer health bar if we're gonna go that route. And they killing you in
Well,
like 1-2 hits. That's it. It's just like real life.
yeah.
You
Well,
get stabbed up with a katana twice, you're done.
if you need a longer health bar, then what you need to do is you need to purchase the VC.
Right. Right, exactly. Like, oh man, DLC is so crazy. I remember horse armor was a thing, right? It was an RPG that came out. Was it Morrowind? I can't remember, but it was like one of the first instances of DLC on a console game where you can buy cosmetics for your horse. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not even gonna play this game really, right? Like I remember like watching that game through trailers and like, oh, that's kind of cool, but it's not really for me. I'm just not a medieval game type person, right? Um, and that went from horse armor to now everything. Everything requires DLC is some kind of content. Remember, there were game passes to keep you from trading your game into GameStop. They were making it so if you got that game, let's say like you traded in, I don't know, Mass Effect, the second one, like you traded in the GameStop. GameStop gave you like shekels for it because that's what they did. And they turn around and sell it to somebody else for $5 less than brand new. And you would buy that. You couldn't play certain content because you didn't have the code that was in the game box originally. Like, so if I bought the game brand new, I had put the code in to get all the whatever. But now it's used. You use that key. So the next person gets it, they don't have a key. So you'd have to go to the storefront of whomever and purchase a pass to then unlock all the content. And that was their way of, because it's the same thing with used cars market, right? Like, so if Tesla sells you a car and then you sell that car to somebody else, Tesla gets no more money from that transaction. So it's the same thing with games, right? They would get the initial sale, and then GameStop would start getting money as opposed to the developer and publisher. I get that to a certain extent, but it works in every other market. So why wouldn't it work in games too? I don't that part of the argument I don't get. But that was a thing, and that kind of led to now where they feel like they have to keep you engaged with every game. Has to have some kind of game pass or mechanic where I need to keep playing this for infinity. I can't stand that. Like, just charge me full price for the game. Like, if God of War costs, like, which God of War doesn't have any DLC, right? God of War costs $70, you get the full game. Let's say it had DLC. I'd rather you charge me all up front for everything. Like, if the game costs 120, guess what? I gotta save up to buy this game for 120, but it comes content complete, as opposed to you charge me 70 and now I have to give you $5 every week for whatever content or cosmetics or stats. Just charge me up front.
I don't, but here's the thing though, I don't think you're in the majority on that, right? So like, I understand your point, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, that makes better sense to me too, right? Like, don't keep don't keep nickel and diming me to where when I finally look at my card statement, it's like, man, I spent $140. You know what I mean? By the time it's all said and done. So from your perspective, it works out better to get it all up front, right? But from a business perspective, when it comes for these studios or developers or whatever, it's not really in their best interest, right? So
right.
for them, it is better for them to give you the bits and pieces and then be like, well, if you like it, their hope is that they've done a good enough job to hook you to where you're like, I gotta have the rest of it now, you know. I gotta do this.
Yeah, and I get the psychology. I don't know. I'm the same way with mobile games. Like, I'm not a mobile games player. And that's a big market, right? Like, the reason that Microsoft wants Blizzard Activision King is not just for Call of Duty. They want all that mobile stuff. That's big money. Like that, but Angry Birds. Like, I only get so many plays before it's like, you need to cool down, and if you want to keep playing, you have to buy this. No, I'm not gonna buy that. I'm never playing your game again. Because I hate that mechanic. So I have no mobile games on my phone because they all have that hook. Whereas like you can only play so much of it before you hit some kind of paywall or some kind of, I need to not play anymore. We gave you a game for free and now we want you to give us money for more stuff. Like, no, just charge me $10 for Angry Birds. You give me all the things. I play as much as I want to, or whatever that would be, 10, 20, whatever. But no, there's people out there probably putting in hundreds of dollars in Angry Birds, making them billions of dollars. So I get it. I don't like it. And then I just don't prescribe to it, right? So I miss out because I'm not playing that. Your Classic Clans and your Angry Birds and your Bejeweled. I don't know if Bejeweled has that, but just those type of games, I just can't play them because I just can't give you money. Like, just charge me something, as opposed to it's free. It's not free.
I think you're coming up on my age, Ryan. You got the
I'm getting there.
You don't have FOMO anymore like me. Like, I'm like, I don't care. I never played it.
But I just miss out on that one.
Yeah.
Man, it's so frustrating. Like, I want to do all the things. 'Cause I used to play a lot more games than I do now. Like, A, because I had less responsibility, but B, because they came content complete. Like, I don't want to give you more money. Like, there's rare occasions. Like, I watched The Last of Us. I know you don't really get down with it, but that thing continues to break records. But this last episode was based upon material you got in the DLC. So like, The Last of Us came out, great, self-contained. I was probably like a good 25 to 35-hour game. I can't remember how long the first one was, but you got a lot of content. It's a gorgeous game, plays wonderfully. and they talk about a character, but you never see that character. And then the DLC dropped. I think it was like, it could have been 10 or $15. I can't remember, but it was a few more hours of game, but it was like a prequel to the game. Here's some characters and some things, and it was great. Like very rarely does DLC come out where I'm like, that was really good. I'm glad they made that. Whether it be based upon they just couldn't fit the content in there to get the game out, or they decided like we have more story we can add. But that was the entire episode was the DLC. So if you played the game and you never played the DLC, this was going to be a completely brand new experience to you. Or if you're like me and you actually did pay for the DLC, and you get to see it in real life. And great episode. Internet went crazy. It's one of those situations where stuff happens or characters have identities or portrayed a certain way on a TV show where people are like, oh, that's woke. Like, why we didn't need this, yada, yada, yada. But you're complaining about something that happened 10 years ago because they didn't change much of it, to be honest with you. Like all the people's orientations, genders, and ethnicities were identical to the game. But we now live in a period of time where people are ran about that on the internet where they don't like seeing that stuff, but they don't know that they're literally complaining about something that I experienced 10 years ago. So like Game of Thrones, Red Wedding, right? So like people were like outraged, not in a bad way, but just like, oh, I can't believe this happened. Like, hands to foreheads, mind exploding. People who read the book were like, yeah, that happened decade plus ago. Like you just now catching up. Same thing with this. Like people were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this episode was a waste of time." Yada yada yada, and it wasn't. It was actually really good from my perspective and opinion. But it was almost identical to the game. So you're complaining about something that happened 10 years ago. You don't even know it.
Well, that's the way of the internet nowadays, right? So like you got to be outraged at something. So that's their thing, right? And it's something
Everybody's outraged by everything. Can't be
yeah.
outraged by everything. You're gonna have a stroke.
But you got to be outraged by something that's popular, right? That's the thing. Like, and here's the thing, right? Social media makes it easy for you to put your opinion out there for everybody to see too, right? So
Yeah.
you're easily heard when you're out here talking about how, oh, I don't agree with this, that, and the third. It's like, well, you didn't have a problem with it, until just now when you saw this. Like you said, it's been out there for 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's only 2 episodes left. I think it's about and it's coming to a head. And I like how they're using the people who did the original voices. So like in God of War changed over. Kratos used to be the gentleman who played Carl Barker on
Living Single,
but now it's a new guy. But in this case, Joel was played by a guy named Troy Baker, and Ellie, I can't remember the actress or actor, female actor that played Ellie, but they're not the same people in the TV series, right? So we made this adaptation. It's Pedro Pascal, right? Totally different dude, but Troy Baker's in it as a different character. So like that's cool. Like so, and then so is Ellie, the lady who played Ellie originally. She's in it too. So you have these cameos with people who played the voices of the game characters, but in the TV show they're different characters because that's just the way things work out, right? So I thought that was kind of cool how they still include them in this world. They're just different people. So that'll be
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so that'll be the next 2 episodes. I think they're gonna pop in to do their thing. And because you might not know Troy Baker's name, but you know him from all of like he plays between him and the dude who plays Nathan Drake in Uncharted. They play pretty much every character in every game. So like Troy Baker, was he in Arkham as a character? He was Ezio from Assassin's Creed. Like he plays pretty much any character you could think of as Troy Baker. He's a renowned voice actor. So to include him, because he's an actor as well. Like I didn't know he actually played roles in TV series and things of that nature. So I looked at his
like doing live action
IMDb.
stuff?
Yeah, like doing live action stuff. But like for me, he's most famous as a voice actor because he's played the voices of pretty much every character. But now he's on a hit HBO TV series, right? So he's gonna blow up again from there. So I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, because I think one of the you may have made it this far in the TV series. Is it Marlene, the Firefly? So the one character you may have ran into her on your short trip through the TV series, but she's actually played by her voice actor.
Yeah.
but at the time, because 10 years ago, right? So she could do the voice of the character, but now she's the age, probably appropriate age to be the character as well. So that's kind of cool. So she's like, I got to come back and personify the character I voiced 10 years ago. So they do a little bit of that as well. So it just can't miss. This show is just phenomenal. I'm just telling you, you're missing out.
It did miss with me. You say it can't
You
miss.
missing out
with me. Okay. I mean, I don't know. It's just maybe if I would have played the games, but even that genre of game is just not something I'm
this is not for you. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like I don't watch a lot of zombie stuff, if any, anymore. Right. Like I've never seen World War Z with like I like watching
that was good too.
movies. Yeah, that's what people tell me, but
that was
like
good too.
I don't know.
I gotta read the book. I heard the book is phenomenal in comparison, and I thought the movie was good. But yeah, that's like I can't lie and say like the Walking Dead. I was like, it's about the people, it's not about the zombies. No, World War Z is about the zombies. So I can't get you with that one.
Every commercial I see is zombies, man. I'm
zombies,
like,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, in mass. But yeah, so the Last of Us, I'm almost done with season 1 of Mandalorian. Phenomenal. But I like all the non-Jedi stuff. That's my thing. I like the Star Wars universe from a different perspective because I joined it so late in life, right? I'm almost 40. I'm just not watching Star Wars. So I have a different perspective on it. There was something else. Oh, the Chris Rock. So I watched the special last night. I'm not sure if you did, or I think you're gonna wait. Even if you wait, which is fine, because they have a live pre-show and post-show with other comedians. So like those segments were Arsenio Hall, JP Smoove, Yvonne Orji, David Spade, and what's the other dude's name? It's David Spade, and it's it's gonna come back to me later, but it's another comedian.
SNL alum, like Adam Sandler.
Yeah. No, it's not Adam Sandler. It's Dana Harvey.
Oh, okay, yeah. Harvey.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they
played the church lady, right? On SNL.
Yes. Yeah. So they do the pre-show and post. Oh, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's a very eclectic cast of people. So I didn't watch the pre-show because I couldn't get Netflix to queue up on my Apple TV. It just would not pop up. And then I was like, well, I got the app on my TV too. So I just played it straight from the TV. And when I did, the show was about to kick off. Funny, not his funniest, in my opinion. Perfect timing though. Like this is like almost a year to the day of the infamous incident. And the Oscars is about to happen. So I think he's going to roll from this to that, which would be amazing if he addresses it on the Oscars.
Is he hosting the Oscars again?
Is he? You gotta be.
I'm asking, like, yeah,
is he? I don't know.
Because that would be something. Like if he was depending on what he did, like he may not be hosting it, depending on what he said in this special.
It said Jimmy Kimmel will be returning for his third season. So he might have him pop in or something or talk about it or not, because he addressed it on the comedy show. So it's about an hour long, and again, funny, but not as funniest, but he does address it. Like if you wanted to just skip to just him talking about it, it's like the last 6 minutes of the show. Funny stuff, probably the funniest of the show. But he talks about relationships, he talks about being single, he talks about his kids, he talks about pro-life and pro-choice. He talks about like the gamut, right? So he's just talking. But I think Bigger and Blacker is his funniest, or maybe Kill the Messenger or something like that, right? So this falls within his, I think he has like 5 or 6 HBO specials. Then he has his comedy albums. Remember those were a thing?
Yeah.
Back in the day. So he has a very big list of material. So I would say maybe his top 10. Maybe. But yeah, not top 5. But I mean, he held no punches. Like, so he builds up to talking about the slap. So I thought I respected that, right? Like, so instead of just jumping right into it or just breaking off and just talking about it by itself in his own segment, he just goes, he's telling the story, he's going through stuff, he's talking about his life, and then it ends with the the ordeal, but he pulls no punches at all. He calling people out by name, and that's the name of the special was selective outrage,
Yeah.
and that's where it gets its title from, is the last 6 minutes. So I
Huh.
was like, okay, I respect that. But again, I would say it's not his top 5, but he does address it. So we waited a year to get it, and he gives it to you.
Well, the thing is, he's probably been practicing that out on the road, like doing shows and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's probably come up before. I want to say I did read one article where it was addressed one time. I don't know how in depth it was or if it was this, but like he had to have practiced this somewhere at some point, right?
Right.
And like
Right.
if we get online, we could probably find it. Like wherever he was at, they probably more than likely pulled phones, right? Like it's like
Yeah, like the
thing, right?
Laugh House or the
Yeah,
Comedy Cellar, one of those
right.
iconic.
And so you
But
could probably go out there and see online where people were like, "Oh, he addressed it. It was funny or
yeah.
whatever," right? And like he practiced this material somewhere.
Oh yeah, he's grinding, and for it to be live, so it's the first live comedy special. So he made history there, right? And he didn't miss a beat until maybe his 5th to last joke. He messed up, and then he addressed it. He was like, "I'm messing the joke up," and then he restarted it. But he's very, very practiced, very, you know what I mean? Like he's
He's a lifetime comedian. Like
yeah, like he is the best at what he does, right? Or one of the best at what he does. So I was just give him some grace there. Like it's still funny joke. He just had to reboot it. But it was good. I would say, like, if you want to check it out, it's got some chuckles in it. But again, I wouldn't say top 5. So if you're expecting like this to be his best of all time, I think Tambourine was better.
See, I didn't like Tambourine that much, to be honest with you. Like I don't know. I and you know what? I am basing it off the other stuff though, right? Like so, like when he was, I'm not gonna say he's not hungry, but when he was first getting on
Oh
and
yeah,
doing
yeah,
it was pretty good.
yeah.
But like even the Chris Rock show he used to have on HBO, like it had its
Mhm.
misses sometimes, but like he would always, it seemed like he always had a good musical guest, you know what I mean? And then he would have the skits and whatnot. Because I remember that's where I
Yeah,
first saw Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes is where I first caught her at because she was on the Chris Rock show back in the day, like doing all these different parts and whatnot. Because
yeah,
it's kind of like sketch comedy, right? But like if I base it off that stuff, I'm like, yeah, like it's kind of missing some stuff for me. But yeah, Tambourine, I didn't think was that great. But like if you like Tambourine better than this, and I'm kind of like, I don't
yeah.
know.
But I mean, it's nowhere near Bring the Pain, Bigger, Blacker, Never Scared, Kill the Messenger. Like all those are iconic, right?
Yeah.
So it's not there. It's just good material, funny, um, and historic, because he's just did the first live one, and then the post and pre-show are like they're not in the same place. Like he did it in Baltimore, I want to say, is where it was filmed live at, but they are in LA, kind of just giving their take. So like before the show, I didn't really watch it. Like I said, I couldn't get the app to kick off, so I watched that later because it's all recorded. So like when I went back to watch it on this morning, because I fell asleep, like it was mad late. Like it started at 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and I have my battery was not charged, so I fell asleep before the Will Smith stuff. So this morning I had to watch it to make sure I could, talk about it as an entirety of the show, right? But then before we start recording, I started watching the post show stuff, and that's funny, uh, because you have the Arsenio Hall and JB Smooth going back and forth, that type of banter. You know what I mean? And they have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for whatever reason, because he's a philanthropist, he's an author, he's obviously all-star athlete. I guess because he knows both of them. Well, he's not a comedian, so you have all these comedians, and then you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But it was funny because he was like, if I was on stage, Will would not have come up on stage. So that was funny, right? Because it's like, that's true. That's very true. He was like A, he wouldn't have done it, but B, he couldn't reach me anyway. So then they brought up Arsenio Hall brought up the time that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in the movie where he fought Bruce Lee. Remember he kicked him, left a footprint on his chest. He was like, it would have been just like that. So that stuff's funny as well. So I'm gonna go back and watch the post show stuff because that was pretty funny. And like Emma Spade and the other guy, it was like they're kind of like the lead host. They're like, we like literally cut, and he was like, yeah, I don't want to hear from us. He was like, we're not the proper people to address this. And I was like, spot on. So it's kind of funny when they go back and forth between him, like JB Smooth, stuff like that. So it's just comedians being funny, talking about the situation. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then Yvonne Orji, she is a comedian. Oh,
Is
wait,
Chris
you're
Rock,
muted.
is Chris Rock there too?
No,
Okay.
because it's being filmed live. They're in LA and he's in Baltimore.
Oh, so okay. I thought they were pre-recorded. Like, okay, I got you.
No, the whole thing is live. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. No.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was different. So hopefully Netflix does some more of these. But I don't know if they'll ever have an event that big, right?
Yeah.
The slap
Yeah.
was talked about for a year. So this is the bookend. This is closing off the slap. Now we're moving on to something new.
So what were you going to say about Yvonne Orji? You were saying Yvonne Orji.
Oh, I was gonna say I didn't know her as a comedian. I knew her as an actress first, but I have seen her special. She's pretty funny as well.
She's
And she was
two
about to, yeah, and she was about to start talking before I jumped off for the podcast. So I'm sure it's gonna be hilarious as well. Just her addressing it. Because like JP Smooth says at one point, he was like, they're both my friends. So after it happened, he was like, I went to the after party. He was like, one of them's gonna be here. He's talking to his wife. He was like, I need to be able to react appropriately. And it was Chris Rock actually showed up to that one. And then he talks about what they talked about after the slap. So like this is funny stuff. It's just comedians telling stories.
Okay.
So I don't think it's that long. I think their segments, like again, I don't know the pre-show. I think that started 30 minutes before, and probably the post-show is like maybe the recorded showed like maybe like another 20 minutes. And it's just them talking about the show. So I was like, okay, this is interesting.
Okay, got you. No, I'll probably take it in. I'll see if I can take it in today. I'll probably finish the Murdaugh thing with the lawyer, but yeah, I'll probably take it in. But like I said, I'm not saying he's not funny, but I've known him to be funnier. And maybe it's just one of those things where the expectations just get higher, right? So like as with a lot of movies, like the sequels are usually never better than the original, right? So I think that's where it's at.
Except for John Wick.
Seldom. I'll say that seldom better. Yeah, seldom.
I can't wait for John Wick 4. Can't wait. Yeah. But yes, that's pretty much all I ingested this week media wise, which was pretty good compared to because like I said, I'm starting something new. Like I'm trying to learn some new stuff on the job, things of that nature. So I'm getting in where I can. And then next week, I don't think I have anything. I might go see Ant-Man Wasp. I may try to squeeze that in, but I don't know. It's a lot of money for it could be a 5, it could be a 7, but I ain't heard nothing above that.
Creed 3 came out too.
Oh yeah, Creed 3. Yeah, because I enjoyed the first 2, and they said this one is also amazing.
Rotten Tomatoes gave it a good score, and the audience score was pretty good. I looked yesterday.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. So I was like, oh, okay, all right. So if you're going there for Rocky, though, there's no mention of like Rocky is not in it. All right, so slide.
Right. Yeah, I saw you had some words about that, but I mean, it depends on how they address it in the movie. Because did they address it in the second one? In the second one, because I don't want to spoil anything, but in the second one he was alive. They closed some familiar bonds, right? There was a thing it ended with. So I wonder what.
I haven't seen the second one. I haven't seen.
Oh, okay, got you. So the second one's really good, but it's I don't know if it's really good or if it's the nostalgia because they have Drago in it, right? So like that you're tying everything back to what is that, Rocky 2, Rocky 3?
That was Drago was 4.
Was that 4?
Yeah, you had Mr. T was 3.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I forgot Mr. T. Yep. So like it's coming full circle. And even then, it was more about the new boxers than the old boxers, right? They're kind of the backdrop. Like, so you remember them and their fight and their battle and whatnot. Now you're seeing the next generation. So I can see them just pivoting straight from that. Like this is the Apollo. Like we going that way, right? So Adonis, right? So Apollo was his dad. So Adonis, because they never he was dead though, so they couldn't bring him back, right? The Apollo died. Yeah,
Apollo died in the 4th one. Yeah, when you fight Drago, because Drago
right. So yeah, so he can be in it anyway. But I think it's going to be good. I think for me anyway, I think I will enjoy it. So I'll definitely check it out. But do I watch Ant-Man Wasp first though? decisions. I gotta figure it out.
Go with your heart. Go with your heart.
Go with your heart. But I think it pretty much wraps up this episode. But thank you, Shannon. It's always a good conversation. Definitely, if you're listening to this one, you have not listened to the rest of this week's, definitely go check those out. Those episodes are phenomenal, right? So definitely check those episodes out, and then definitely leave your feedback, your comments, and can't wait to address those. And see you next week. So stay safe, stay secure.